today's peer review day. My students should have 2 copies of their essay drafts, and they're gonna peer review, try to find out where the thesis statement is in the essay, identify the main topics or ideas in paragraphs 1, 2, and 3 or more, write down what's working well for the essay and why, and also kind of specify what advice they would provide to improve it. I don't really have much planned for class. This log's mostly me reflecting on grading exercises 1 and looking at exercise 2. My students, I went over summary and analysis previously, and I feel like I didn't go over it enough. My students did not meet the requirement, so most of their assignments are not full credit. I do realize that maybe for the future I should give them a grading criteria. I did give them a sample rubric of what I'm looking for, which is like a thesis, a structure, development, organization, syntax and audience awareness, things like that. I did take some parts out and leave parts in, but for most of my students, they are like just meeting the criteria. Some of the students are a little weaker. I told them visit the LRC on this or visit me during my office hour, and I'm going to try to make an announcement, see if people are available on Mondays to come to office hours. If not, I can change it to be after class on Tuesday maybe. But I'm going to but one of the things I'm going to do for them so that way they don't feel like they're going to fail the class is offer extra credit. So if they go to the LRC and they give me 4 sheets that prove that they've been going to the LRC to improve their essays, I'll probably give them extra credit. There's an extra credit opportunity where they can go to the Waves launch party, which is what I'm actually going to mention in class today, and kind of put the link up on our Canvas page. And today I'm going to go around in each group and see what kind of advice they give to each other, because they need to give each other advice anyways. I don't know. But right now, I really got to run to make copies and scan items. I don't want to be late for my class. I'll be back after class and just basically talk and see how well the peer review worked. And I'll reflect on that a little bit more later. Ta for now. Teaching log 9, part 2, after class. Peer review went really well. I did have to explain a certain part of it to the students because the worksheet was a little confusing. Like the student wrote their name on top and then the group member that they are giving feedback to on the bottom. But one group in particular didn't understand what it is that I meant and wrote feedback that they were giving to their peer on this sheet that they were going to take home. And I was like, wait, no. The good thing is, and the bad thing, 4 of my students were absent today. And when they were absent, that meant I just had extra copies of the worksheet. And what I ended up doing with it is I gave them the extra copy and I told them, all right, you, group member one, have to write the feedback for group number 2 and then hand this feedback to group number 3 so group number 2 can take this sheet home. It's a little weird when I explain it that way, but the rest of the class got it. One group of 3 did not, so I had spare paper to give to them. I went around in every group to make sure that they did understand or were giving each other feedback. I looked at MLA, so I told them, make sure you fix this. And they ended up looking at MLA too. They gave each other suggestions, like maybe expand on this idea. And then one question I asked every group is, does the paper flow? I know that most of my students were not going to have the full
page limit today because it's just a lot. But whatever it is that they have should be what would most likely be on the paper, and just kind of make sure that it flows. I told them a little bit of some of the grammar errors that I noticed. I also handed back my students their paper, and oh my god, grading them was hard, and I feel bad that they're not the best of scores. And I'm going to be more lenient towards them because they all could have failed. So I was more lenient for this one. But one of the things that I realized is that for the next progression that's supposed to begin on Tuesday, I might push it back a little bit. And I need to add a grading criteria, kind of narrow it down. Like, all right, did you meet the page requirement? Like, that's the grading criteria. Did you meet the page requirement? Does your word picture vividly describe what it is that I'm supposed to look at? So I have to tailor it. But that's one of the things that I now have to take into consideration. I have to finish grading the exercises to turn them in. And I have to take a look at the questions that my students have for me. But I feel like I was all over the place today, and I don't know if I like this feeling. But for now, that's all I have. But I did this first. Before today, I felt like I don't know what I'm doing. Today, I still don't know what I'm doing, but I have a better idea of what to do to change it for my students. Because in the end of the day, my goal is for my students to succeed and improve their writing. And I made a lot of suggestions today to go visit the student tutoring center and to reach out to each other. So I hope they really learned from that. I know that today's video is a little shorter, more on the shorter side, but I didn't do a lot of teaching. I just was there to help encourage the collaborative process and the peer review process, which I guess I'll find out on Thursday and see if that helped. But I know for one thing for sure is one of my students probably does not belong in the class that I'm teaching. He's not meeting the requirements. He's constantly behind, and I'm gonna probably reach out to him and ask him to visit me in office hours. I'm willing to work with him. Visit me in office hours, go to the tutoring center, and use the resources our campus has to offer. But that's it for today's vlog. I wish me luck for the rest of the semester because I still don't know what I'm doing.